Hey everybody, this is Mehrban Iranshad. I hope that you can hear me. If you can, just say hello in the chat. I'm just checking a couple of the channels now, Facebook and YouTube, and it looks like I indeed am live. So welcome to this live stream. This is a very different one because it's only myself presenting to you, and it's definitely exciting for me to do this and to share what I've learned through my experiences, as well as interviewing a lot of amazing people. And so it's going to be a little tricky in terms of answering questions. I definitely will. But I actually have my presentation on the right side and like another screen while I'm looking to the other side. And then I have like this streaming screen in front of me. So I am going to concentrate on the presentation, but I'll be scanning your questions as we go along. But I apologize in advance for any difficulties. But yeah, just say hi in the chat if you're here. And as you can see, which I'm going to now make it full screen, is a presentation subject, which is how to get back on the court and start improving your game again. Let's see which views look good here. This looks okay for now, but I might make it full screen just so it's easier for everybody to see. All right, so again, how to get back out on the court and start improving. So we get to the first slide here. The objectives for today, which these are what I'm going to be reviewing for you all today to help you out, is setting your expectations first off, prioritizing your health and your fitness, extremely important, as we'll get to soon. And then we'll go to goal setting and planning, on-court training, what you should be actually doing on the court, and then observing safety protocols. And hey to David and Tom and Gene. I appreciate you all coming on, and looking forward to everybody learning from this session. So, all right, lesson number one is setting your expectations, and this is really important because I've played with people, actually even one of my good friends who we've been out on the court before, and he hasn't played in many weeks, and then he gets upset with himself. And I tell him, I say, you can't really expect to play amazing if you haven't been able to practice, for weeks or months, and in many cases for us with what's going on here. So again, not playing at all for a while means your level is naturally going to decrease. I mean, you have to be some sort of superhuman tennis player for that to not be the case. So you first have to, set your mindset to say, hey, I accept that I'm not going to necessarily be able to play my best. And that will right away alleviate a lot of pressure, a lot of tension, and allow you to focus on improving yourself rather than getting pissed off at yourself for making mistakes that is totally normal even under consistent practice conditions. But you're just coming back and you're going to be rusty for sure. And it's kind of the same point, but your timing, your game speed, your rhythm, all this needs consistent practice to stay at a high level. I remember actually a huge mistake during college, between my first and second years of playing college tennis and college, of course. I took a big break right before we returned for the winter season. No, I'm sorry, right before we returned for the spring season. And then we had challenge matches the very first day that we got back, and my heart just sank when I heard that. And so I had been out of practice, and I played my friend Leaf, and I lost pretty badly. And the game speed was just so weird for me. And we were playing indoors that particular day, and the courts were fast. Just the ball was going like 3 times as fast as normal. So, it really takes a lot of consistent practice to get back to where you were. Another thing that it helps a lot and helps alleviate pressure, like with the first point that I mentioned, is to be grateful that you can play tennis in the first place. I mean, maybe for some of us that's not possible yet. Let me try putting the view to the highest it can be, actually, or the best. Here we go. So anyway, being grateful for that you can play tennis, that you're healthy. There's a lot of people out there that are sick, whether that's the pandemic or something else. And so having that mindset too is going to help you to reintegrate back into the game. The next point here is to just really accept, as is the main title here of this subsection, just to program your mind that I'm going to accept whatever level of play that you're at right now, and that it's going to get better from here. Uh, and just a quote for you: "Without labor, nothing prospers." It's Sophocles, my younger brother. No, I'm kidding. Uh, Philosopher from a long time ago. Now, so the first objective that we want to do before we launch into playing sets and matches is to focus on getting back your rhythm and your timing. Oh, hey, Daryl, I see you there. Is to do that. So you want to really focus on doing that by just uh, getting down the basics first. So obviously, you want to start off hitting down the middle. And if you watch a lot of the tennis pros, if Federer, Nadal, anybody, when they step out on the court, they're playing at like a quarter speed, maybe one third speed, just to get their body acclimated. And this is something that's extremely important to take note of because uh, and I'll talk about this a little bit later, we're really at a big risk of injuries. So if we get out on the court after not playing for a long time, or even if we've hit once or twice, but our body isn't acclimated yet to higher intensity play, then we're going to be at a huge risk of injuries. So you just want to start by hitting down the middle and then gradually speeding up from there. And I'll have more, like I said, on the injury points as well. And then from hitting down the middle, you want to get to cross courts and then recovering to the middle, just very basic things, basic patterns of play. And then from there, you definitely, really at the outset is focus on your footwork. Footwork is so important because if you're not in position, you're not able to be ready and loaded up to hit the ball, then there's no chance that you're even going to hit a good shot at all, even if you have perfect technique, but your footwork is off. And I find that focusing on my footwork really helps set up the rest of the stroke naturally. And so you really want to focus on your footwork for sure. And just a point being here is from Michael Russell, who's I think top 50 ranked at one point, who I interviewed on my podcast, maybe in the 130s or so. I'll have to double check that for you all. But his quote is, "If you work on your footwork and your spacing is good, it's much easier to hit the ball. It's not always just about technique." And another point too on footwork is I find it's kind of out of the scope of this, but during matches when I get nervous, I find that focusing on my footwork is the number one key to getting me to play properly again and not being nervous. So no, section 3 here is to reevaluate and reset your expectations after each session. And what I find really helps is to journal. So after I play, let's say this is after the very first session, you want to write down how you felt after playing. And you can use anything from a yellow notepad to a practice journal from Functional Tennis, which you can check out at tennisfiles.com/, I think it's journal. I'll have to double check that actually. But so write down how you felt. And, there's obviously details here of what you want to write down. So you want to note how you felt mentally, first of all. You want to note how you played, what worked that day and what didn't, and to include as much detail as you can, the more the better. And then going from there, you can make a plan to work on your game based on that information above. It's really, really key to reflect on your game. I recommend after each session, but I understand for those of you, especially who don't have that habit down, you can just go with weekly if that's easier for you, or some other sort of time delineation. But really just noting what you're feeling after your sessions goes a long way towards your progress. Self-reflection is really key. And regarding expectations, quote from Bruce Lee: "I'm not in this world to live up to your expectation, and you're not in this world to live up to mine." That's really a great quote here. And I wrote some notes down about it, which is basically Bruce is saying not to worry about people's expectations of you or your game, relative to tennis. And so you want to just set your own expectations and set out to achieve them. So, when you get out there on the court, don't worry about, what other people may think about you as far as, oh, this person, my game has gone down or whatever. You just have to kind of keep reevaluating and then resetting your goals, your weekly goals, and your short-term goals, etc. All right, next slide, or next lesson actually. Prioritize your fitness and health. So as I alluded to previously, we are at a huge risk of injury right now. It is really key that we take care of our fitness and our health. And this starts with performing a dynamic warm up every single time before you play. This is especially huge at this point. And so, as I mentioned, injury is the number one concern among top tennis experts who I've talked to. I've talked to many of them, but including Dr. Mark Kovacs that comes to mind. Because think about it, your body hasn't been used to playing tennis, and then all of a sudden you're going to go out there and then shock your system and play tennis. So what you want to do is you want to perform this dynamic warm up, which has two primary objectives. There's obviously a lot of sub objectives, I guess, if you will, but primarily it will prime your muscles to function optimally. And I see Dr. Chandra calling me right now. Another great resource. I've got to call him back. But anyway, dynamic warm up, it primes the muscles to function optimally and it prevents injuries. And even just 10 minutes before playing can prevent, like 10 months being out from injury. And I just, said 10 with 10 just because it's kind of the alliteration is nice. But it's really key for you to implement this dynamic warm up before you play. And some examples of this are knee hugs, lunges, monster walks, shadow swings, even like a light jogging. All these things are going to really be very helpful for you to warm up your body properly and prime your muscle for performing well. So subsection 2 here is schedule and stick to a workout plan. And I can't tell you how important this is. It's going to go a long way towards getting your body ready. I really hope that you have actually been working out during this, this stay-at-home juncture. Because if not, then your body, like I said, is going to be especially in for a real shock. I mean, even myself I actually work out every single day. We'll go into this a bit more, but I rotate between lower body workouts, upper body workouts, stretching for my mobility and flexibility, and also sprints and lateral movements. It's really important. So, but that being said, I don't want you to get too hung up on the exact, exercises and types of workouts for yourself, because the thing is, the more complex you make something, the less likely you're going to be to stick with it. And in talking with fitness experts as well, I just love the area of tennis fitness, because if you're not fit and you don't concentrate on your fitness, then you're going to have to make time for the physio table, which I believe is what Alistair McCaw told me one time. So it's really most important that you be consistent with your workouts. So create some sort of workout that is something that you can do consistently, and then reevaluate from there again how it works out for you. And obviously you don't reevaluate how your workouts are doing for you after 2 days. You've got to give it some time. But consistency is key here. We don't want you to try a couple times and then quit. And as I mentioned, focus a large chunk of your workouts on mobility and flexibility. I interviewed Mike Boyle, a huge expert in the realm of tennis fitness, and he said that you want to actually focus on, oops, I think I changed the screen here. I've got to get my presentation back on track. But he said that you've got to focus on as much as 1% of your fitness training on your mobility, because we lose that as we age. So say if you're like 30 years old, rough estimate is 30% of your fitness training should be on mobility. Thankfully, I'm able to get this, or I was able to get the presentation back. That's great. And so, of course, working on your fitness will help you withstand the rigors of tennis and to perform better on court. And we do want to focus on the outset on general strength first and then specific tennis exercises, because in talking with all these amazing tennis fitness experts. I'm just going to shout them out. I mentioned Dr. Sean Drake and Dr. Mark Kovacs, also Dominic King, and so many others, Dean Hollingworth, etc., Neera Jayanti. They talk about how strength is a building block of other, I guess, characteristics like such as power and speed and explosivity. So you always want to start with strength first, because it's also going to help you just in general be healthier and be able to withstand more jolts and things like that on the court. Think about all the stopping and starting that you're doing. And then one huge key is that you don't even need really any equipment almost to get a great workout going. And I made a list here for you all that, well, I have it on my notes here. I mean, the equipment that I use is really minimal during this time. Obviously, I don't have like a squat rack with me or anything. Some people do, but I don't. So I use mainly an exercise mat, a couple exercise bands, a jump rope. I personally have a perfect push-up type of apparatus, but you don't even need that. It's just kind of more comfortable for my wrists. I use a foam roller on occasion to foam roll for myofascial release. And then I have a medicine ball that I use sometimes. But as you can see, extremely simple. It's really great. So, hey Samantha, nice to see you. Hey Daryl from New Zealand, that's so awesome. So yeah, and if you want a workout plan, just let me know in the chat. I'm curious to see who is, excited about tennis fitness and realizes how important it is. Next, recovery and nutrition are critical. And, some of these points, of course, you may already know, but I mean, it's really important to reiterate these things. So, but especially important is because, as we mentioned, you won't be as fit as you normally were, before, like pre-COVID, pre-pandemic. So, in this case, your proper hydration and carbohydrates are even more crucial than before. And so, to give you kind of a rough estimate, in speaking with a really great nutritional expert, Jeff Rothschild, who I think moved to New Zealand or Australia from California, and he trained the Bryan brothers, or helped them with their nutrition and training, is 30 grams of carbohydrates if you're going to do a 1 to 2 hour training session. And then 30 to 60 grams per hour if you're going to do like 2 to 3, which, power to you all who can do that much at this point. It's few and far between, I would say. But yeah, and so with that, static stretching after playing is really crucial to reduce soreness, but also maintain your flexibility, which I should have written that too. It's just really crucial, like, your flexibility and your mobility is really going to directly impact you. Because I remember for a long time, I never stretched and I never even knew what mobility meant. And every day after I played tennis, I would just be so sore and my hips would be hurting so much. And I felt like I couldn't even stretch out for balls. And after matches, believe it or not, I was limping back, from my car to the elevator. And it was just brutal. So, and a big reason for that was I was not stretching, I wasn't recovering properly, I wasn't sleeping enough. So, recovery and nutrition are going to be extremely critical, especially as you're returning to tennis, and it's going to be more of a jolt on the body as usual. And as I mentioned, you want to replenish the body with sufficiently high quality calories. If I've noticed too, if I've played a match and then I haven't eaten sufficient calories, like actually what will happen, especially it's rough with the USA leagues, because a lot of times, and I actually help but with them. I'm the vice president of the Montgomery County Tennis Association, so, and the chair of the leagues. But unfortunately, we have to schedule, or at least pre-COVID, matches around like 9 p.m. or so sometimes. And so I'd play matches at 9 till 11, frequently go to third set super tiebreaker, come home and it's already late. And then if I were to go to bed, and I've done this a few times without replenishing my calories, I would either wake up in the morning, well, being like 1 a.m., extremely hungry and feeling horrible, or B, waking up at my normal time, well, actually later, because of the late match, but also feeling equally horrible and really sore because I did not give my body enough calories to replenish. And then with that, you've got to build in enough sleep, and this will vary from person to person, varies depending on age, but you have to kind of figure out what works for you. And I remember they did a study on a college basketball team. I'm sure they've done it on many teams, but they did studies on this particular team, and they found that by increasing the sleep by, I think it was 8 hours or maybe 9 hours, across the board, the statistics all went up. So just amazing what you can do with just an hour extra of sleep, just eliminating electronics after a certain period of time, like 10 or 11 o'clock, which has been very difficult for me. But you just have to stay disciplined and realize, the negative effects if you don't sleep enough, and then B, how great you're going to feel if you sleep enough. So combine those two, and you will be able to push yourself to be more disciplined. Lesson 3 in this 5-part lesson here, plus a nice bonus later on, is to set goals and to plan properly. This is so important, really. And you have an opportunity to start fresh here with your training and your goal setting, etc. So you want to start really having this mindset of starting to train like a champion. I know there's a lot of us out there, and I am guilty of this too, where we have these practice sessions and, we're very lackadaisical and, just we relax. We don't really put in the effort. And then all of a sudden, when you're in a tournament or a USTA League match, you're freezing under pressure. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen even if you play intensely, but our level of play will go down quite a bit in match play if we're not playing with intensity during our practices. So you really want to start by making that commitment to get the most out of your training and to remind yourself of this every single time. Otherwise, you're going to forget and the commitment is gone. And really powerfully is you want to remember your whys. And remembering your whys will give you a long-term fuel and a purpose to keep training hard. So I wrote down some of my whys here as I transition myself to some of my notes here. And some example of whys are to be a role model for your kids. Maybe you want to show them that it's possible to be able to increase your level and improve as a tennis player. Maybe you have kids who are playing tennis or other sports. Another big one is to not have regrets later in life about your untapped potential. I hear it from a lot of players who say, oh yeah, I could have been a pro. I could have been this. I could have been that. But are you really happy with yourself? And, you don't want to be at the end of your tennis career and then thinking to yourself, wow, if I just put in some more hours, some more time, I could have gotten this college scholarship. I could have gotten to a 5.0. Now my body can't get me there, things like that. And a cool story too about training like a champion is one that I heard on a motivational channel on YouTube. I think it was Mulligan Brothers, but they have all these motivational channels. And I actually listen to these motivational channels every single morning, whether I'm working at home, then I actually put it on my computer screen because I have my workout mat a few feet behind my desk. And I can watch a little bit, but mostly listen, obviously, as I work out. Or I put it on my, obviously put it on my cellular device, my smartphone, and then I listen to it. But anyway, one of the speeches was about Jason Williams, or was from Jason Williams, a former professional basketball player. And Jason, one time he had to face off against the Lakers and against Kobe. And so Jason Williams, he went to the practice court, well, I guess the game court, but to practice a few hours before the game. And he saw Kobe Bryant there practicing already in a full sweat. And so Jason said, okay, I mean, this is normal. So Jason, he practiced for like an hour, hour and a half or so. And then he went off the court and Kobe was still practicing. And so Jason told himself, wow, I mean, this guy is really working hard. He's got a game soon. And so Jason sat down and watched Kobe practice, and Kobe practiced for a good 30 or 45 minutes more. I forget the exact time, but that's not really the point of the story. And then so after the game, which I don't remember who won, but Jason went to Kobe and asked Kobe. He said, "Hey, Kobe, why were you practicing that much? I mean, it's there's a game afterwards, and what was the reason?" And then Kobe said, "The reason that I kept practicing out there is because I saw you out there, and so I wanted you to know that no matter how much you were going to practice, I was willing to practice harder than you." And so this is a huge lesson for those of you. I'm sure it'll be inspiring to at least some of you, that there's always somebody out there training more than you are. And so obviously after getting back into the game gradually, you want to really have that mindset of, I'm going to practice as intense as I can and start training like a champion. As I have up here, oh, actually, let me go back to the slides. So I talked about that, and there's really no substitute for hard work. And training like a champion not only requires a mindset shift, it also requires great planning, right? So you want to evaluate your game and then make a plan. And the first part of this is I say this quite a bit actually, is to figure out first off, what are the top 3 aspects of your game that if you improve will give you the biggest ROI, which is the return on investment. And so for me, I'm gonna just flip back for myself to my notes here. For me, I would say that my biggest return on investment would come from my serve, because we all serve half of the time, and with a better placement, more power on my serve, I'd be able to control and win more points. But another one for me, and these are just to jog your mind on what possible areas you can improve, although it's very personal to you, of course. Second is my mobility, so that I can get to more balls and feel better on the court. That is, again, I've always had these little issues with like my hips and flexibility, mobility problems. So I've been fortunate that they haven't been terrible so that I can't play, but I do feel them. And as we age, as I mentioned, we have more mobility issues. My third point that would give me the biggest return on investment would be my footwork and my movement. As I mentioned as well, I think everything stems from your footwork and your movement. And if we have a pro like Michael Russell saying that, then I think I'll take it. So let's see here. So yeah, then after thinking about the top 3 aspects, you have to try to figure out and plan, how are you going to attack this? How am I going to actually improve on this part of my game? You can't just say, oh, okay, I'm going to improve my serve, and then that's it, right? You need to plan. Failing to plan is planning to fail, which is a quote by Alan Lakin. So how do you improve your serve, for example? Just to take my personal thing that I need to improve on, I'll schedule 3 days a week. I'll record my serve technique. I'll watch the video after each session. I'll identify what areas of my tennis serve need to improve. And then I'll just go from the beginning to the end, figure out, okay, which part is the problem? Oh, I see that my toss is off here. What do I need to change? And then once you get that to be second nature, that your toss is on point, then you go to the next phase and the next phase. Maybe the racket drop is not doing so well, so then you work on that. You figure out drills, techniques, you listen to podcasts, you watch YouTube videos, you join Tennis Files membership, whatever, and then you figure it all out. And yeah, so that's an example of planning and setting up the time for yourself. And let's see, next point. Right now your competition is training. And then, as I alluded to, you want to schedule this time. And what I like to do is I like to set recurring days and times, blocks of time in my calendar. And so there's many different tools you can use. I like to use Google Calendar a lot. If you guys and girls follow me on Instagram, which you can check me out at instagram.com/tennis.files, so like tennis period files. Sometimes I post my calendar, and it's usually filled up, and I like to fill it up as much as I can so that I have things to do. Even my breaks, of course, I schedule breaks. So Google Calendar, you can use a wall calendar. Just go to Amazon or wherever and order it, or Staples. You can use a progress planner, which I also use, which I like a lot, and has a calendar inside and daily places to write your schedule. You can even use a yellow notebook and just write it freehand. And really, most importantly, we talk about consistency, right? Do not let anything distract you from sticking to your training sessions. We all hit these points where it's a fork in the road, right? You have the choice of, oh, I can choose to stick to my practice session, stick to my gym session, my fitness, or I can succumb to my temporary pleasure and eat a bowl of ice cream, or I can just go watch some YouTube and then do it the next day. But when you do that, each time you do that, you take another turn down the wrong road, and then pretty soon, several things happen. I know for me, whenever I make a suboptimal choice, the wrong choice, then even though I end up feeling good in the short term, I end up feeling bad about my failed choice, and then it kind of sometimes it can steamroll, and so it's okay. Everybody is gonna at one point or another, for whatever reason, not stick to their appointment or session. Sometimes there's an emergency or whatever, but the really key is to not make the same mistake twice. So get back on your horse and stick to your schedule. And you can't get anywhere without consistency. And sometimes you don't even know when you're going to break through. For example, with your fitness training, maybe you've been working at it for many, many weeks and you don't feel an improvement, but all of a sudden, you have two choices. If you stop, you never know. You might have been one more session away from an explosion in power that you could feel in your body, but because you quit, then you would never get there. There's this great visual of two people. I don't know if you call them miners or what, but they're digging for diamonds or something. I think it's diamonds. And then you have a picture of one person who has dug literally like 1 inch away, and then you see the diamonds on the other side, and then he's pictured with his pick or whatever it is that he's using to dig, turned away, walking away, like all dejected, not knowing that the diamonds were just like a couple more smashes away. And then you have somebody else, of course, who's continuing to dig towards their goal. So yeah, just a great, powerful thought and visual there. And then I have this quote again: "A man without a purpose is like a ship without a rudder." I can't remember who said that actually, but you can Google it. All right. Oh, Thomas Carlyle. There we go. Sweet. And this is just a picture of my Google Calendar. I have a lot of things on here, obviously. All right. What to do, and I usually fill this up more. I think this is an old picture, but lesson 4, what to do on court. So you're probably wondering, what exactly should I be doing? There's a lot of choices, obviously, but I'm just going to list some that you can do. But obviously, as you first begin to get on the court, you just want to start after you're hitting down the middle of the court here to get your rhythm and your timing and warming up. Then you want to start with just basic patterns and some drills. You don't want to launch into a practice set because you shouldn't be going at it full steam, because you're just getting back out on the court for a lot of you. And then B, if you do that, then you're going to get injured probably. I mean, there's a big chance. So anyways, basic stuff, cross courts and recover as you would during matches. You can do cross court down the line. So if you're playing singles, you hit cross court and your partner hits down the line. I love this drill. It's so good for movement and change of direction for the person hitting down the line. Well, actually for both, sorry. And then you want to practice some one up, one back. So so this basically means one person volleying, one person at the baseline, hitting down the line and cross court. What I like to do is to practice depth, and that doesn't mean that you have to hit it super hard or whatever. You just hit with sufficient height from the net and depth, obviously, because depth is really one of the keys to winning, especially at the amateur level, because players cannot attack deep balls And conversely, they're going to cough up short balls for you to attack. Let's see here. Another one is to do a close the net type of drill, and I love doing this where you have two players at the service line, and then one of them feeds the ball, and then you just close the net. And then serves and returns. Please do not forget to practice these. It's really almost ridiculous how little players practice serve and return. I remember playing with Peter once, and he mentioned that one of his friends doesn't like to serve. And I found it, kind of crazy. I don't know if this person doesn't play any matches or something, but you've got to practice your serve and returns, because think about it. You're serving or returning every single time. So think about how much you practice that, and put it in your practice sessions. And then once you do some drilling and some basic patterns to practice, then you can transition after a few sessions, or I'd say a few sessions, to practice points, and then even practice matches. So some favorites of mine are simple baseline games, first to 11 points. Sometimes you want to maybe do the third ball is good, in case like after you feed it there's a mistake. That doesn't count sometimes, if you'd like, however you'd like to do it. And then playing king or queen of the court, pauper of the court, whatever you want. And so where you have, and this is really good with more than two players, actually. Maybe you have 3 players, 4 players. So you have one side serving, which is the multiple players, and then you have the other side returning, and then the first player on the serving side to win 7 points will rotate to the returner side. And then you have just playing normal sets. As I mentioned, after a few hitting sessions to get your body acclimated, and hopefully you're training your fitness as well. And then another really good one to get yourself reacclimated to just a more frequent pressure is to start at 30 all sets. And Jorge Capistani had this one, I believe, as well as many other great pressure drills during the tennis summit, which was fantastic. We had over 13.7 thousand participants. It was sick. But anyways, 30 all sets, good pressure type of practice, and then tiebreakers as well. You play regular tiebreakers, super tiebreakers, etc. Another one too is playing with just one serve. That's a good one too. And then once you have put in some practice sets and matches, then your body will be ready to do some USA League play and tournaments if they're available. So, for example, the MCTA, which I'm a part of, as I mentioned, they're going to be starting some modified league play based on USA Nationals directives starting after July 4th. So, by the way, if you're in Montgomery County, Maryland, then email me for more information, or email MCTA and get on that if you feel comfortable and ready to play. And we'll talk about some safety precautions too. Also, flex leagues are an option in some areas as well, which is more of less organized, where you arrange your own league play. And I know that my friend Scott Baxter has player court as well. That's another option. And yeah, some tennis tournaments are starting up as well. So again, just make sure that your body is able to withstand the rigors of it, and then you might want to try it. I saw my friend Mike already register for a tournament, so that's cool. Good luck to you. All right, so let me check if there's any action on. Oh, nice. There's some questions here, which I'll get to soon, guys. Sorry about that, guys and girls. So, all right, what if you can't play tennis yet? There's still areas that have the the courts shut off, so you can work on your fitness. I did this I'm still doing it, like I said, every single morning. It's either fitness or it's stretching or something. It's huge. And you remember, like I said, you don't need any fancy equipment to get strong and more fit. And I'll give you some examples a little bit later on. So you want it. Wow, it's already 9:40. That's amazing. So you can do some shadow swings. You can do footwork at home and outside. These types of things are really great. And as I remember talking with my friend Peter Freeman from Crunch Time Coaching, In many ways, the best thing is for you to not be able to play tennis, because then you can focus on technical deficiencies and work on integrating the proper motor patterns into your strokes. So shadow swings are really highly underrated, and footwork as well. Another thing you can do is study strategy. It's fantastic. What I like to do is to either watch other people's matches or even professional player matches, challenger tour, whatever, and even put the sound off. A really cool thing I like to do, and this was inspired by me talking with the summit coach, Brent Abel, actually. What we did was, what is the right shot? And he actually does this. You can check it out on his YouTube channel. But what we did was we paused the action of the point, right? And then he asked me, or I asked him, what is the right shot in this particular situation? And then afterwards you play the video and you see what happens. But that's a great way to train your strategy and really start thinking about what types of shots are optimal in those situations. I mean, thing is, it's actually been really tough for me too, because I used to be a purely reactive player. I used to just try to be as consistent as possible, get the ball back, and so I didn't even think about strategy. But it's really important to do that. Just think about what is the best play, how can I exploit my opponent's weaknesses and play to my strengths as much as possible. It's going to make a world of difference. And so these are some things that you can do even if you can't play tennis yet, or if you're not comfortable playing tennis yet. And I totally get it. It's pretty crazy what's going on right now. And yeah, I just mentioned here, read books, listen to podcasts, Tennis Files podcast. Check it out, tennisfiles.com/podcast. All right. Yeah, and this is just a YouTube live that I did with my great friend Peter Freeman from Crunch Time Coaching. And I think this live stream is either still online on my YouTube channel. This was the kickoff for the tennis summit, and it's almost 8,000 views. Pretty cool. But yeah, obviously I just put this up because we talk about shadow strokes and self-study. Number 5, observing safety protocols. So, it's everyone's different. Some people are really brazen about this, gung-ho, but I personally don't like to take a chance with my health if I don't have to, and also I don't impact others around me by coughing on them or high-fiving them or whatever. So you want to practice social distancing with your opponents and your partners if you're playing doubles as much as possible. You want to go around the opposite sides of the net. You want to bring multiple cans of balls and only use yours. Maybe they're different numbers, which would be ideal, or you can mark them and then only have those particular balls in play. Like, let's say if I'm serving, I use my balls. If you're serving, you use your balls. Racket tap instead of shaking hands. I think a lot of us have seen this on the some of the matches that they've done. Some of these tournaments. Some have been more successful than others in safety, as we'll talk about. Using your racket or shoes to pick up the opponent's balls. I guess both, actually, hitting them and propping them up with your shoes and your racket. Also wiping down your equipment too, if you can. So this is pretty crazy. And this is, as you can tell, this is a very live session because there's some players and coaches who have tested positive for COVID-19, including Grigor Dimitrov's coach, Christian Groh, Borna Choric, Novak Djokovic's trainer, sorry, I forgot his or her name, Viktor Troicki, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, it's a Troicki name, sorry for the pun, and his pregnant wife, which I really hate to hear that as well. And we'll see if Novak has it too. I think he's going to announce it soon. If you're listening to this on the podcast, then he's probably already announced it. If you're listening to this live, then not yet. And so this was the little tour they had in Europe. Unfortunately, due to I think lax safety protocols and some social events, this happened. And so some safety guideline resources here. Check out the USCA's Safety for COVID-19 Player Tips and Recommendations. Check out also the ITF Return to Tennis Guidelines. And check out the USTA Tennis Safety for Facilities and Programming, especially if you own a facility or if you're going to play at one. I think it's useful for you. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much that. And I want to just give you an example workout here. I know that we're running out of time, I guess. But yeah, so I thought you'd enjoy this. And also let me know if you want me to have or to create a video of this, then just let me know, because I know it's kind of hard to like figure out exactly what these movements are. Maybe you haven't heard of some of them. But so dynamic warm up. Please warm up before your workouts, okay? And this is pretty much exactly what I do, at least for my lower body days. Jumping jacks, one set, 15 to 30 each. Knee hugs, side leg hugs. It may not be super. Let me see if I can actually show this. This is going to be interesting. So yeah, you just stand up, right? And then you hold your foot and you bring it up like this. And that's pretty much it. Hope you like my plant. Yeah, so that's that. Let me get back on there on the share screen here. Okay, cool. That was the side leg hugs, which I think there's a different name to it. Frankenstein's, which is basically put your arms out and then just put your legs up. You know what? I'm going to show that too. It's fun. Oh, God. I have to back up a lot, actually. So it's just this. It's pretty much what you're doing. Oh, yeah. All right, let me sit back down. Let's see what else here. And then we have lateral crouch to leg lift. All right, I'm going to demonstrate that. Oh, I don't know if you can see this, but so you're basically going to be, let me move this chair. Oh, gosh. So you're basically going here, you're crouching down, lifting. Crouching down, lifting. And then also the other side, crouching down, lifting. So I love that warm-up. It's pretty awesome. Might have to cut some of this for the podcast. Might not translate well audio-wise, but yeah, no problem, Samantha. Air squats. I think you all know that one. Let's see what else we got. Monster walks. All right, I'm gonna show that. So I don't know if you can see this, but it's just it's basically like a moving to the side, like side shuffles, but leaving distance in between and keeping your body low. Should probably be lower than that. So that's pretty fun, and it's a great warm up. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, so those are really good dynamic warm-up exercises. I'm already getting a little sweaty from that. Now, my leg strength workout, which I really enjoy. I mean, so you could do 2 to 3 sets of this. I actually recommend just doing 2 sets when you start off. 10 to 15 reps is what I recommend. Bulgarian split squats. Oh, geez. This is going to be interesting. So basically for that, you're gonna put your feet, oh God, gonna put your foot here, like on the chair, right? And then you basically just do like a lunge. That's pretty much what you're doing. So it's kind of hard to see, but you get the point. So that one's amazing for unilateral leg strength. It's amazing. Let's see here. What else? And then after that, I like to do a lunge to leg lift. Okay. Lunge to leg lift. So this is what that is. And some of you have seen me do this on like the streams, but you lunge, lift. And then opposite, it's like you're running, right? So that's one. That's the lunge to leg lift. And you can do a 5-second hold if you like. We've got the forward, backward lunge stationary. There's probably a better name for that, but I like that one too. It's basically you do forward lunge and then backward lunge. Forward lunge, backward lunge. And yeah, I was speaking actually while I was doing the exercises, but I don't know how well you could hear me. So that probably didn't translate too well, but let's see what else we got. forward lunges and backward lunges up the hill or the driveway. So that was pretty self-explanatory. You just do regular walking lunges like forward and backwards. And it's great when you do it up a hill. And then side lunges. And then a squat hold for 30 to 45 seconds, which is really good too. Really burns. So yeah. And then the single leg squat. I'll show that. So this is a partial one. You're just... Yeah, so hope you saw that. And yeah, that's my workout, you know? So I just do this for a few sets, 10 to 15 reps. And this is my leg workout. As you could see, how much equipment did I need? Pretty much nothing. Maybe a mat if you're inside. And recovery, I like to do my quad stretch. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just grab your ankle and foot behind you. Oh, sorry. I actually did not have the screen up. My bad. Let me go back to the leg strength workout so you could see one more time all of the exercises. Okay. So yeah, static stretches, quad stretch, calf stretch, your forward, calf stretch, and then let's see, IT band stretch, which is really good. And that one, I'll show you that one. So you just cross your legs when you're standing, and then you just do a forward fold. Other leg. Yeah, so I hope you saw that. Let's see. Next one, figure four stretch. Yeah, I've got to show that one too. That's going to be tough. Tough to figure out from the description. So, but yeah, you're on your back, and then you grab... Okay, I'll just show it. All right, hope you guys saw that. And I'll probably make a YouTube video about all this. Just let me know again if you want to see, like a full workout basically that's, a lot more, obviously shot more close up and everything. And then the butterfly stretch, which is you basically, I'll show you that. Yeah, sorry guys. I know that the microphone was blocking it a little bit, but I hopefully you got the idea. And yeah, that's just a picture of me doing a workout, which was very painful, but it was really fun during the summit. And so recap of today's presentation, set your expectations. First off, you really want to just say to yourself, I accept that I have not played for a while and that I'm not going to be playing amazingly the first few times out. So, and then just go from there and then figure out what you need to do to keep improving and reevaluate after each session. Prioritize your health and fitness. It's an extremely dangerous time right now for you to be just going all out if you haven't played for a while. Think about it. Your body just isn't used to the rigors of tennis, especially if you have not been performing a fitness program consistently. Number 3, you want to set your goals and then plan your training. So you want to figure out those top 3 aspects of your game that'll give you the biggest return on investment, and then schedule them in your calendar. Block it out and then do it. Number 4, on-court training. You want to follow a plan of progression. Again, you don't want to leap straight into matches. You want to first just, do simple hitting down the middle type play, and then you want to progress to simple patterns of cross court down the line, volleys, serves, returns. And then after that, then you can go to playing practice points and sets and matches. And then after that, when you feel you're ready, then you can progress to USA leagues or tournaments if they're available. And then observe safety protocols just to make sure that everybody is safe and happy with tennis. Obviously, we've seen that you have Dimitrov, Chorich, Troicki, and their associated people have gotten sick. So that is, well, be sick being getting COVID. So yeah, it's not a joke. I mean, even though tennis is pretty much the safest sport, people are still getting COVID. So just be careful out there. Some resources, tennisfiles.com. The Building Blocks of Tennis Success ebook, which you can get at tennisfiles.com/ebook. You can get the Tennis Fitness Workout Plan, which is a fillable worksheet, I believe, tennisfiles.com/workout plan. You can check out the Tennis Files podcast at tennisfiles.com/podcast. And if you're interested in the Tennis Files membership, you just send me an email at mehrban@tennisfiles.com, because that is where I'm going to be. Well, I upload every single month new lessons, new question and answer sessions with members, and a bunch of other stuff. And like these slides will be on there, and yeah, so forth. So it's a great community, and yeah, just get in if you're interested. Questions. So I'm going to try to get to some questions here. Let's see. What size foam roller do you use? Let me bring mine out here. I have it in the room. So, great question, Samantha. I have this foam roller. So I like this one because it has these sort of like indentations or whatever you want to call it. So it kind of digs in a bit deeper into my body and to certain points. I wish I had a tennis ball, but you can even use a tennis ball if you're first starting out. I also like to use a lacrosse ball for foam rolling if I really want to get deep into an area. That's always really good. And I also use something called the Theragun. Let me just bring that out real quick. Yeah, so this one's pretty cool. It also helps with myofascial release, so it might be a little loud, but as you can see, you could just put it on your back and all that. Oh, so good. Yeah, so this is fantastic, the Theragun. If you're interested in getting that, also shoot me an email. I can hook you up with a much better price. Well, a special deal, I'd say. But anyway, that's the foam roller answer for you. So yeah, I use the half one. I just like it better. But again, I use a lacrosse ball. Let me focus that. Is that going to focus? Yeah. All right. Let's see. How do I get rid of wrist pain? So first off, you want to rest it up. Oh my gosh, there was this tool that I just interviewed somebody on, and it's supposed to get rid of wrist tendonitis. It's this tool that you basically like hold in front of you and then you squeeze it. But I mean, what I would say is that, again, rest it until the pain subsides and then start strengthening it. So things like getting even a tennis ball and just squeezing it, that's going to help your forearm muscles, which will also help, obviously, your wrist pain, help alleviate that and get it stronger. I mean, that's what you want to do ultimately is increase the strength of your wrists and your forearms. But yeah, I mean, be very careful because obviously you want to get it diagnosed to just make sure exactly what's going on. Let's see what else here. A wristband until you get your wrist stable again. That could be possible, but yeah, I mean, so you just want to be a little bit careful though, because sometimes if you overuse certain equipment, like let's say maybe you have like a knee pain and you use a knee wrap. In some cases, those don't even work. So I remember a session with Niru Jayanthi, a great expert, and he was saying that in a lot of cases, amateur tennis players, they use certain wraps and things like that which don't actually work. So I would just caution you to again consult a professional. But barring that, if you can't, just rest it, make sure the pain goes away, and then start strengthening your wrist. You can also hold like small weights or something, and then like do these exercises with the wrist. Those are great. Yeah, so hopefully that helps you out there. Let's see here. Paula, I've already injured myself and have a lateral meniscus tear. I'm very sorry to hear that. Had surgery last week. Get ready to get back to and working on my fitness in the coming weeks while recovering. Looking for examples to work on. Yeah, I mean, I would just say for sure, just stick with your doctor's recommendations on what you can and can't do. But you can obviously still work on your upper body, and you can use bands and so forth. Yeah, because I mean, with your knee, it seems like you really want to make sure that you don't do much lower body work there. Let's see. James, what's up, James? How are you? Great to see you. Oh, that's good, Samantha. So the wrist pain worked for you. The wristband worked for you. That's good. Oh, David, would you demo the side lunge? Yeah, I mean, a basic side lunge. Yeah, again, I'll create a YouTube video about all this stuff. Let's see what else. Yeah, Samantha says that would be awesome. Thanks. Sweet. Let's see, sports physiotherapist. Yeah, for sure. Consult a sports physiotherapist. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. All right. Oh, it's 10 o'clock, so I'm sure it's y'all's bedtime. For some of y'all on the Pacific side, it's 7 p.m. You're just getting your night started. Fantastic. So yeah, that's, if anyone has any more questions, let me know. Just want to go back to the resources page here, but I do appreciate everybody tuning in, and this will be the audio will be on the podcast on Wednesday morning, and it was really fun to just kind of share my knowledge through experiences and consulting with a lot of great experts about what exactly it is that you want to do, the process that you want to undertake to improve your game coming back from a long layoff. It's not easy, and it may feel daunting starting from square one, but you can definitely do it, and it just takes a lot of planning and making sure that you're fit, both your body and mind, and getting that championship mindset. So, yeah, with that, I want to thank you, and if you are an outline, yeah, I'll try to send you an outline. But yeah, if you want to get the full slides and everything, I'm putting this inside the Tennis Files membership. Just super quick, it's going to be just $20 a month to be in that and get new lessons and Q&As and get all the resources. Just want a quick plug. I don't want to sell it, tonight forever. But yeah, so thank you all for tuning in, and I wish you all a very safe and happy rest of your week. And if you have any questions, just email me at mehrban@tennisfiles.com. I love hearing from you all. And yeah, all the best to you all. Take care.